Hey, Gatekeepers! Welcome back to Weekly Soap Chronicles. I'm your girl Phil, and today I'm breaking down all the juicy drama from Beyond the Gates episode 141. But first, I need you to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a recap with a little bit of fun. Let's get into it. Alright, so we kick things off with Anita, who's on a mission to save Dani from herself. She drops by Nicole's place, and she's fuming about Doug and Dani ruining their lives because of liquor. Then Nicole says, Dani and Andre decided they gonna stay together. What? Oh, no, we can't let that happen. Of course. Meanwhile, over at Dani's place, she and Andre all cuddled up while she calls Chelsea to say how proud she is of her and selling the purses, the Chelsea cat and all that. Then, when she hangs up, Andre asks if Chelsea said anything about their marriage. And Dani is like, no. And usually when Chelsea gives me the silent treatment, it's not good. So they get to making out. And then Mama Dupree busts in the door. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's the middle of the afternoon, for Christ's sake. I'm not trying to see all that. As a matter of fact, I need to speak to my daughter alone. Andre was offended, but he ended up leaving. So Anita went in on Dani, calling Andre, he's just a boy. How you gonna sit up and marry him? And you making all these rash decisions because of your drinking. Look at what happened to Doug. You know what I'm saying? You need to make better choices. And Andre is a bad influence on you. But Dani held fast and she took up for Andre. She was like, you don't know what's going on. Andre has really been the best part of my life. And he helped me to put down the bottle. As a matter of fact, yes. We was toe up from the flow up in Vegas, and we went on ahead and did it. But the reason why we did it wasn't because we were drunk. And my addiction is not to alcohol, it's to Bill. Bill? Oh, Lord. You got to find a way to get over Bill. Okay, because it won't be good for you at all. Now, the one thing I can say about Dani and Andre's relationship is that they are straight up honest with each other. Andre knows how she feels about Bill, and Dani knows how he feels about Ashley. So, they being upfront. They not hiding secrets from each other. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, everybody really just needs them to leave them alone. That's what I think. What do y'all think, Gatekeepers? Let me know in the comments. Now, because he got kicked out of the house, Andre runs to Nicole to complain. Why? Why you go to Nicole's house? Anyway, he gets in there. He like, I just got kicked out of my wife's house by her mama. I guess his mother-in-law at this point, right? And of course, Nicole is like, you can't blame her because Dani has been making these rash decisions. She's concerned, Then Nicole goes on to say, why would you want to still be married to her? When at the end of the day, you know how she feel about Bill, and why would you want to be somebody's second choice? Plus, she married you for revenge. No, she didn't. I know how she feel about Bill. And did you marry her because Ashley got engaged? Well, it did hurt, which again, I don't know why they got him so pressed on Ashley. Oh my gosh, this whole storyline with him and Ashley is just dumb. Ugh. What y'all think, gatekeepers? Is it just me? Or it just don't make sense for Andre to be all about Ashley? Ugh. Anyway, she points out again that they should get an annulment, and then Andre brings up, maybe you jealous of Dani. And she was like, boy, please, me jealous of my sister? Get out of here. You know, and he was like, yeah, maybe because her life is a little bit more stable and yours is falling apart. No, that's not it. Okay? But anyway, like I said before, they need to leave Dani and Andre alone about this marriage. Now, over at the casino, Bill confronts Joey about Doug's accident. Did you have something to do with it? Of course, Joey denies everything. And then he says, well, you know, I think it's kind of convenient that after I told you about Doug's plan to come after you, then the next thing you know, Doug is in a ravine somewhere. Well, that had nothing to do with me. And just because you told me about Doug, I wasn't worried about Doug. Doug was too incompetent to be a threat to me. Okay? Plus, I was out of town. So, hey. And of course, Bill is like, yeah, that's real convenient too, that you got a good alibi. And then he said, look, I had nothing to do with it. But then also, that clears the way for you to pursue Vanessa. I didn't need Doug to be gone to pursue Vanessa. Bottom line, and I'm going to tell you straight out, I had nothing to do with Doug's accident. That was all on him. Now, over at the law firm, Little Miss Haley is furious when she finds out Bill and Caroline dug up Dani's marriage certificate. What does my husband need to see her marriage certificate for? Pulling up all these papers with her name on it. I just think that he has fallen back in love with her ever since Chelsea's ordeal. So Caroline is like, girl, look, before you start jumping to conclusions, maybe you ought to talk to Bill first. So Bill comes to the office and Caroline hands him the paperwork. No annulment has been filed and there's no prenup. So once Caroline leaves, Haley demands to know why he is looking into this. Why are you all into her marriage? What are you trying to find? Bill gives Haley a look like, ooh, you are annoying me to no end when it comes to Dani. Good grief, you getting on my nerve. And he explains that Dani will inherit a lot that should go to their kids, but now she's married and, you know, he could be getting the money that's going to the kids. And of course, Haley is like, no, because Andre rich. He done came into quite some money when his parents passed away. I think it's something else going on and I don't like it. And she storms out. Haley is so insecure. Oh my gosh. BTG, give Haley something else to do. Because she doesn't work at the law firm. And her whole world is Bill. Give her something else to do so she could stop obsessing about Dani and Bill getting back together. Jeez. Meanwhile, over at the hospital, Shanice and Ashley talk about Derek's progress or the lack thereof. And Shanice doesn't say anything, but Ashley goes on about how worried he must be about his recovery. Then Derek shows up and Shanice offers to fit him in for some therapy. Of course, Derek is like, no, you don't need to. I don't want to cause any issues with your schedule. No, don't worry about it. So she sends Ashley off to another room. And then Shanice is to Derek like, why you still playing these games? Why don't you just go ahead and tell Ashley that you feeling something in your legs? But I still can't walk. So my plan is to walk down the aisle at our wedding. And Shanice was like, what you gonna do? Plan like some phony faith healer or something? All of a sudden, miraculously, you gonna stand up and walk down the aisle? Why would you do her like that? Any rate, that whole storyline with Derek is dumb too. Just go ahead and tell her. Good grief. Then, of course, Andre shows up. And why? Why you going to the hospital? It ain't no need to go to the hospital. Just so he could just bump into Ashley and they can have their little stupid conversation. Well, Ashley, I hope that you and Dani are happy. Oh, I just thought about something. You're Naomi's stepfather. Okay. Well, Dani's house is so big. You could just choose rooms and blah, blah, blah. Well, I haven't moved in yet. I just, I'm still at my old apartment. Oh, okay. That doesn't sound much like a marriage to me. And then he said, yeah, it's a little unconventional, but it's real. Okay? Well, I'm just glad that you're unavailable. Oh, the Ashley and Andre little dynamic is dumb and stupid as well. BTG, y'all got to do better with these storylines. Then Derek comes out, Andre leaves, and then Ashley asks Derek, so how was therapy? And then he gonna sit up there and, it was the same as before. Nothing changed. Ugh. So now we check in with Vanessa, who's at the country club, drowning in grief over Doug. She's flipping through cemetery brochures when her son Donnell shows up, surprising her and demanding answers. Turns out Doug quit his job months ago and Vanessa's been keeping it a secret. Well, your father has been going through some things. He started gambling and things were affecting his job. Donnell's not happy, and honestly, who can blame him? Vanessa's feeling like she's failed her kids. Then Anita and Nicole show up to offer their support, and it's a touching moment in an otherwise chaotic episode. Then Donnell heads to the casino to dig up some dirt on Doug's accident. And then he runs into Randy, who at first Randy didn't know who he was, and then he looked at him and was like, oh yeah, I remember you. Doug would bring you to the basketball court and we'd buy you candy and ice cream and all that stuff. And he said, yeah, I kind of remember. Well, can you tell me some things about my dad? Well, you know what? Your father was a really stand-up guy. You know what I'm saying? But he started getting into some things. And then right at that point, Joey comes in, makes Randy leave. And then Donnell says, do you own this establishment? And he said, yeah, that would be me. And then Donnell says, oh, well then you are the one that's responsible for my dad's accident. And then finally, Dani shows up at the law firm to talk to Bill. And Bill thinks she's there for an annulment. And she was like, no. And then he wonders where her nearly incestuous groom is. And then she's like, you know what? we need to set some boundaries. Okay? And I don't know how we gonna do that. And then he says, well, maybe if we just keep insulting each other until we just don't want to see each other again. How about that? So then he throws out a insult to her, and then she throws an insult to him, and then the next thing you know, he telling her, but one thing, you are so beautiful. And then he leans in for the kiss, and that was the end of that. Ooh. So we don't know what's gonna happen after that, but that's how the episode ends. And that's a wrap on episode 141 of Beyond the Gate. What did you think, Gatekeepers? Is Dani's marriage doomed? Will Derek finally come clean to Ashley? And what's Joey hiding? We already know what Joey's hiding because he had Marcel fix it where Doug had an accident. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a recap. Until next time, keep the drama alive.